Hello, everybody. Today I wanted to talk about stimming. I actually, learned a few things about it, and if you see me looking down, it's because I'm reading some things. Like in with neurotypicals, people do it like tapping your foot or impatient, or when they're impatient, or twirling their hair when bored. But for neurodivergent individuals, it's more frequent, intense, and serves as a vital tool for self-regulation. Think of stimming as a nervous system remote control when your internal state is out of balance. Stimming helps you tune it back to a comfortable frequency. And why people stim, the why is almost always about sensory or emotional regulation. So when we're upset, stressed, or too much sensory, you're having sensory overload. Like if you're autistic and you have sensory overload, and ADHDs too. Um, Stimming can help regulate that, at least make you more comfortable. Um, but because neurodivergent brains process the world differently, stimming is a proactive way to handle that difference. The reg, to regulate over stimulation, if the environment is too loud, bright, or chaotic, repetitive motions can create a sensory bubble, narrowing the focus to one predictable sensation to block out the rest. And to combat understimulation, when bored or struggling to focus, the brain craves input. Stimming provides that spark of energy needed to wake the brain up and engage with the task. So, when we're having a hard time getting to do something or find something stimulating, stimming could help us kind of wake the brain up too. So, yeah, to process emotions, stimming is a nonverbal language for big feelings. Hand flapping might express pure joy, while pacing might help channel anxiety and frustration. So, like, pacing can help for anxiety, and hand flapping for like autistic people, can they do that when that it kind of helps them with joy. And to create predictability, when the world feels unpredictable and stressful, the rhythmic controlled nature of stim can feel profoundly grounding and safe. And the common types of stimming, like motor, hand flapping, rocking, pacing, jumping, spinning, leg bouncing, that's more of the physical ones. Now, the vocal could be humming, whistling, throat clearing, repeating words, phrases. I do that. Clicking the tongue. I also do humming. Um, Tactile, so like picking or rubbing skin, twirling hair, cracking knuckles, stroking fabrics. And visual, watching spinning objects, staring at lights, repetitive blinking, or doodling. I was definitely a doodler. Oral, chewing on pens or jewelry, grinding teeth, sucking on your cheeks. I used to do the cheek one. And so ADHD versus autistic stimming, while there is a lot of overlap, the intent behind the stimming often differs based on the neurotype. Autistic stimming often centers on managing sensory input, so like sensitivity overload, filtering out overwhelming sensory chaos, or providing a soothing, predictable rhythm. It is frequently used for self soothing and expressing intense, complex emotions. As an ADHD stimming often centers on arousal and focus because the ADHD brain is chronically understimulated, and the stim, like leg bouncing or doodling, is often a way to wake up the nervous system to maintain focus on a dull or difficult task. The misconception of disruptive. For decades, many therapies aimed to eliminate stimming because it was viewed as socially inappropriate or weird. However, the neurodivergent movement has successfully challenged that. Stimming is generally healthy and necessary. It's only considered a problem if it is physical harm like skin picking or significantly interferes with someone's daily life. Otherwise, it's a brilliant internal mechanism for keeping your brain online and regulated. And when you see someone stimming, it's actually a sign that they are actively taking care of their own nervous system. It's essentially an act of self care. So I thought that was interesting because I stim all day long. My stim, though, is actually um, fidgeting with my remote. I fidgeted with it so much that I've rubbed all the numbers, letters, and symbols off of it. They're just blank. Like you can see, maybe there's some on the sides, but I'm stimming as of right now. Like I constantly twirl it up and down on my leg, and I'm doing this all day. Like I sometimes I don't even realize it. And if sometimes when I'm sitting, if I'm not sitting hypermobile with legs, because I also sit with my legs curled up, which is another video I'll have to talk about. Legs curled up and double jointed and hypermobile. I always sit with my legs curled up, always, and I bounce the remote, twirl it on my, and bounce it on my leg. But I yeah, I always do it to regulate myself. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel regulated, like level, you know. But yeah, that was something interesting I wanted to share with all you. So, you guys have a good day.